East Kilbride is a terrific place to come to work, live, invest, to visit. It has an amazing amount of attractions and a load of natural advantages. It's a fantastic place to put your business. It's a place that people feel an affinity to. It's a place that people associate themselves with. We have many of the descendants of the original people who arrived in East Kilbride, their children, their grandchildren, who have forged a life in a terrific environment as Scotland's first new town.
My father moved here in 1947 because he became the first incoming general practitioner for the new town. We lived in Thornton Hall, which I have fond memories of. I mean, we used to play cricket underneath the trees. The environment was just wonderful for a child to be brought up.
I found my childhood in East Kilbride was absolutely marvellous because the open spaces, whereas East End of Glasgow, we had the trains at the bottom of the street and the trams at the top. But the way East Kilbride was being built, you didn't feel it was just rows and rows of houses. It was very well designed.
Going to East Kilbride was, oh my goodness, it couldn't have been more different. I had my own room. We had a downstairs loo, we had a bath, we had a tiny little garden. It was like the change was extraordinary. We had a phone for the first time, but I didn't know anybody else with the phone, so I couldn't phone anybody. I used to pick up the phone and listen to the speaking clock.
The vision that was needed to develop the new town concept is vital to establishing a new community here in East Kilbride. Sir Patrick Dolan, Lord Provost in Glasgow, it was his vision. He was concerned about the plight of the poor and ensuring that people were given appropriate living conditions and the opportunities to thrive in a better environment. So he was well known for the work he did in Glasgow, but he also became the first chairman of the East Kilbride Development Corporation.
I find these really interesting just because it's like the opening brochures from the sports centres in the area. I find like the design quite interesting and the colour choices, and then you've just got like some interesting information about the people that opened it. So that's like John Wright, who the John Wright Sports Centre is named after. And some of the pictures are just the people and what was going on. There's Sir Paddy there.
East Kilbride, I'm sure if people visit here, like it's distinctive for having so many roundabouts, which was obviously designed that way, and all the street names were named on purpose, and there's underpasses, and they've thought about where people can live and where houses were built with amenities next to them and shops next to them and parks next to them, playgrounds next to them originally, so all these things were taken into account.
There was new factories going up. The Development Corporation in those days, they would go out to countries and say, we've got space we can build. So it was very attractive. So we had some very big companies coming into East Kilbride.
This is like old East Kilbride, like the village, and we've got Torrance House, which was an old family home, but then became like the location where the Development Corporation were based.
The importance of East Kilbride Development Corporation can't be overstated. They planned, designed and built the town. They attracted the new residents to come to the town. They attracted the businesses that would employ the residents, built the schools that would educate future generations within the town. They were absolutely central to making East Kilbride the premier new town in Scotland.
There was plenty to do inside and out. There was, sports facilities as well as outdoor facilities like Calder Glen and what have you.
How fabulous, isn't it, to be sitting here at Calder Glen Country Park. It's a 4-star tourist attraction, and we're sitting in the Tropical Conservatory along with a number of our zoological friends. We also have a network of tourist trails and walking routes through the park. We've got an 18-hole golf course, which is one of the top municipal courses in Scotland. And we have a fantastic range of gardens and ornamental features, etc. This is a terrific place to visit, and I think you should.
People would come for miles around to shop in East Kilbride. My and Mum, we'd get the bus, we'd get the 18 bus up the road, and we would go to East Kilbride to shop. And it was fantastic.
Over the past 40 years, EK East Kilbride has grown and developed to become one of Scotland's largest undercover shopping and leisure centres. It is East Kilbride's town centre, a community hub where locals meet over a coffee to share the news or enjoy a meal or a movie, or perhaps even spend some time in the ice rink with family and friends. There is no doubt that the retail landscape has changed dramatically over the past few years, resulting in new pressures and town centres and malls across the country. EK East Kilbride is rising to those challenges with a push to bring new operators to the town and closer working with partners in the public and private sector to ensure the town centre remains fit for purpose and relevant for the people of East Kilbride for years to come.
I am told I was first on stage when I was 2.5. And then when I was 9, I played the Sleeping Beauty in a pantomime. And I was most disgusted because my prince was only 8 and he had to kiss me. There was a lot of talent. Probably the most well-known one was John Hanna, who came to us in the early 80s. We also had Jim McPherson, who was in Taggart. We've had people who've been involved in local radio all over Scotland, not just East Kilbride. Lorraine Kelly always talks about her first ever byline was writing a review about the Rep.
You had the Rep, you had the football team. There was so much there, so much to enjoy. You just had to throw yourself into it. And I think that's what I did, especially when I joined the paper. I just threw myself into it. I absolutely loved it. I just thought my job is to let people in East Kilbride know what's going on in this town. And it was a fantastic job. It was brilliant. I loved it.
I just love East Kilbride. I've really been raised here, and it is a hive of small businesses. If I want to get anything done, say in my car or anything, there is a business that will do it for me here.
Logos Logistics was established in 2003 and it has primarily served semiconductor industries, life sciences, infrastructure construction, pharmaceuticals as a move management solution. Our parents established it with their uncle and it was in Blantyre primarily, and then from there it grew from being in the garage of my parents' house to moving to Glasgow and then coming back to East Kilbride in 2017.
I live in East Kilbride, I live in the village in East Kilbride, and it's a great lifestyle. There's so much on offer in the village. You've got a lot of cafes, restaurants, a lot of beautiful walks nearby.
Our mum and her family were one of the first to come here back in the 60s from Glasgow's East End. My dad was from Blantyre. We have worked here. In fact, it was a good jumping off point for both Laura and I's career. I was a teacher at Duncanrigg Secondary. And
I studied at South Lanarkshire College, which was a great bridge for me between high school and university.
South Lanarkshire College is based in the heart of the community at East Kilbride. We offer courses from 3 main faculties: business, care and construction.
It's a very friendly place to be in. There's a great support from teachers and you'll never be alone, you'll never feel alone.
Part of our values and our mission statement is to be one of the best colleges in Scotland. We aim to work in partnership with industries. We're always going to need people that can do plumbing, bricklaying, electrics, all of these things. And I think it's really important as well that when we work in partnership with other local employers that we therefore train people in order to take up jobs at the end of the day.
East Kilbride is a forward-thinking town. As it reinvents itself, this town looks towards the green economy, it looks to renewable energies, recycling, green initiatives.
This used to be a film studio at one point. When we took it over, we turned it back into a waste processing paper plant. I used to come in here as a boy when I left school. I bought an old van and we'd drive around industrial estates in East Kilbride picking waste paper up and bringing it in here. You go back out again, you jump in more skips and pull out more cardboard, bring it here and pay cash. And I never thought any one time would actually own the building and be doing exactly what they were doing, obviously on a larger scale. I was brought up in East Kilbride. It was well located to access any packaging plants, printers, anybody who's producing massive amount of paper. Geographically, it was great for us just to bring it back into this location and process it and then put it back out to the paper mills, either down the M74, up the down 725, or even on the M8. We've had loads of support from East Kilbride Council, we've had loads of support from Scottish Enterprise, Business Gateway. There's a lot of support out there if you're a business, a small business in this area. Not just financial support, professional help as well. So yeah, you can't really fail in East Kilbride. If you give it 100%, you can't fail.
We have 215 turbines here at Whiteley producing 539 megawatts of clean green energy. Each full rotation of the rotor on one turbine would produce enough power to charge around about 300 mobile phones. Clean energy that's produced here at Whiteley is essential going forward into the future, where we're going to have a more electrified future. We're going to change the way we heat our homes. We're going to use electric cars. So renewables has to play a part, and demand for electricity will increase massively. Scottish Power Renewables play a big part in the community. We work with community groups to bring forward projects, and we've provided £12 million worth of funding. We also have the brilliant Countryside Ranger service here, where we also have the visitor centre and the whole site for people to enjoy. In the future, the increase that we're going to need in renewable energy means that it won't just be wind power that we need to harness. Battery storage will also play a part. Solar power, and at Whiteley we've got a current project that we're looking at introducing green hydrogen as well.
So I would say that Sir Pat's legacy in East Kilbride today is maybe areas with lots of local shops and green spaces. He had a vision, obviously, from an early day. He had passion and he had ethics and he had integrity, I would say, that he knew what he wanted, and he wanted to help like the common man and the working man.
Well, East Kilbride, happy 75th birthday, and aren't you looking in your prime?